Hey guys, what's going on? So they have made a movie about the life of Madam C.J.Walker, and I had to make a video because I have it triggered so many thoughts in me. So those of you guys that don't know, I think a lot of people that are black, and there's might be some white people that know, or non-black people that know this as well. But Madam C.J.Walker was the first female millionaire, self-made millionaire in the United States, and she became famous by inventing hair products, straightening, like relaxers, to straighten the hair chemically, and also I think the straightening comb, which at the time, now it's advanced, but at the time you'd have to put it like on it was like a metal comb, and with really small teeth, and you put it on a hot stove and get it warm. So basically you're just ironing your hair, right? Basically, because back then they didn't have electric irons and now they're electric. But you would put it on a hot coals or hot stove, and you would get it'd get it hot, and then comb it through your hair like a comb. But while you're doing it, it would break down the bonds of your hair temporarily and straighten. And then when you use chemical straightener, it breaks down the bonds of your hair permanently. So like the new growth that comes into your scalp, you have to keep straightening it, but the hair that's processed chemically is permanently straightened. You can't make it natural again, if that makes sense. Kind of like when you dye your hair, like you see people that dye their brunette and they dye their hair blonde. The blonde hair is blonde permanently, but the roots come in and they're black, and they have to re-dye it blonde. Kind of the same concept with like straightening your hair, if that makes sense. It's just for people that are like, what are you talking about? I'm just trying to give you a good example of what it is. So anyway, yeah, and I have, it's starring Octavia Butler. Octavia Butler she's another black, she's a science fiction writer who's phenomenal. She's great. But it's Octavia Spencer. I wouldn't be surprised if she produced it, because she produces a lot of stuff. And what I realized as I've gotten older, the key to longevity and to having control in your work and not being stereotyped as an artist is to produce your own stuff. So I wouldn't be surprised if she produced it. I haven't confirmed that yet. But anyway, she's a very smart lady, and I'm gonna support it. I'm gonna totally support it. But I was thinking about it, and I have mixed feelings now because I'm natural, and I'll get into that in a minute. Meaning, I don't straighten my hair with chemicals. I might, if I straighten my hair again, I will do it with like an iron, but then I'll be able to revert back to being natural. But let me put that aside, and I want to talk about Madam C.J.Walker for a minute. So she was a millionaire, self-made millionaire. When she died in 1919, her self-worth was like $10 million, something like that. She was worth like $10 million. And back in that day, it was a lot of money, okay? So I don't know how that would even equate to today, maybe even more. But, she had a state, she had cars, she had had everything. And the reason I'm bringing this up is, a lot of the black people today get into this victim state, and they're like, oh my God, my life is over. You don't know how much it hurts to be black. I'm trapped forever in my black skin. I can't do anything. Like, oh my God, the white man's, I need reparations so I can breathe. Back then, and right before I saw this trailer, I was talking to my friends. We were talking about this because we were talking about like Garrett and Morgan that invented like the gas mask and the traffic light, and he was black. There's George Washington Carver, who was another inventor. There was another guy who did the first open heart, I forgot his name, surgery, and he was black. Or wait, maybe I have that wrong. I forgot. Okay. There were scientists, bottom line, there were scientists and doctors doing shit. Black people were inventing shit. They were actually doing more work and inventing things back then than they are now, when they weren't as free as black people are now. That's my point, okay? I'll put info in the links, as I always do, okay? But that was just kind of my thing about, like how I believe that, a lot of black people today are brainwashed in this victim state. And for those of you who don't know, African Americans, which when I say African American, I mean an ethnic group. Like, it's an ethnic group, meaning black people that were born in America of African descent, as opposed to black people from Africa. And when I talk about race, I talk about your physical features, what you look like. So we physically have a lot of, same physical characteristics, like curly hair, dark skin, big lips, big nose, stuff like that, right? That defines your physical characteristics. But a lot of Africans come over and they run circles around African Americans because they don't have that mentality. And a lot of Africans struggle and work their butt off to get here, first of all. And then when they get here, they don't take it for granted. They don't have, I've noticed, I really haven't met, maybe, I'm sure there are exceptions. Now that I think about it, I haven't met any Africans that have that victim mentality. And there's like for those of you guys unaware, there's like a divide between Africans from Africa and black people that are in America. And like there's a lot of headbutting going on, and I know that's not the total case, but when I was growing up, a lot of Africans would come over, and the black kids would be the American black kids would be so mean and call them like African booty scratcher, or if they had stores and stuff, it was just like rivalry. And I kind of really, and as I've gotten older and I've talked to some African people, I think, as I can articulate certain things, and I think part of it has to do with like black people, American black people having this victim mentality, and Africans aren't, like, they're not really about that. And a lot of Africans I know like Trump, like because they're self-made, they work their butt to get here, they believe in hard work, they don't buy just because they're black that they can't do anything. And when I was, a teacher, and I kind of start to realize this too, that, the curriculum, they basically teach you about slavery and Jim Crow as your role as African Americans. They don't teach you, it's like, in history, they teach about slavery, and it's like we disappear and then we don't come back until like Jim Crow. Like, that's the only role that we had. And as a student, as somebody going through that, I remember it was just really embarrassing. Like, I hated history. I hated it because that was basically the only thing that you were taught in school. And now that I'm out of that and I've stepped back, I think there's this systematic done purposely to keep black people in this victim state. And then, they make the white people, feel guilty about it. So it creates this everlasting tension and like headbutting. I know they're better words, but you know what I mean? Like this like, where you can't get any resolution to anything because we're kept in this lower level of consciousness through manipulation of our history. And they don't even tell you that, a small percentage of white people own slaves. They don't tell you about other slavery around the world. Like I didn't know this until I got older, but there were like Irish slaves in Australia. And I mean, like, slaves, not indentured servants, but like that slaves, like Kunta Kinte slaves, but like in Australia, white slaves. So, they make you think that black people were the only people that, experienced slavery ever, and that Jewish people were the only, people that experienced a near genocide, where this is an occurrence that has gone on all throughout the world, and every race has either been an oppressor or the oppressed, and it's still going on at this moment. And I think it's really interesting that, black people, want to, like, a lot of the black people that are in this victim state want to go on and on about slavery, and yet, they're buying, one of the main things that they buy is hair. One of the main, ways that they spend their money is hair products, which are, weaves and stuff that are basically, slaves from China, and shoes that are made by slaves from China. So it's just like, it's so twisted, And so with the natural hair thing, black women have a very high incidence of fibroid tumors, and fibroid tumors are the results of or can be the result. It can be many things, but the result of like imbalance of hormones. So like if you have synthetic hormones, you have chemicals that are messing with your hormones, you can form fibroid tumors. And you know, it's well known that black women, you know, are one of the main types of people that get this problem. And it's like, I don't think anything really happens to a race or a gender of people because of their race or gender. I think it has to do with their habits. My phone's about to fall out. And I know I've come across a couple studies I've heard that show that the chemicals in a lot of the black hair products, especially relaxers, have been linked to fibroid tumors in black women. Same thing with the Kanekalon hair. It's you know, when people get their hair braided, it's like a type of plastic. It's a synthetic type of hair, and you braid it into your hair. Mostly, you know, women get their hair braided, and I've had my hair braided with that stuff. But you get your hair braided for about maybe 2 months maximum. So you have these chemicals that are on your scalp, that are seeping into your scalp, that are seeping into your body. And remember, anything that you put on your skin that absorbs through your skin, your liver has to process. So it's going all through your body, y'all. All right. So I was saying I had mixed feelings because I also think that, you know, as I get more and more aware about my health, I look at a lot of the habits that black women, and I'm not judging you guys. I'm not judging you if you have a weave. I'm not judging if you have a relaxer. I'm just saying that, or getting your hair braided with that type of hair. I'm just saying that I think that we need to be more mindful of what we put in our bodies and on our bodies, and how it's affecting, how it's causing some of the illnesses that we have. That's it, right? That's all I'm saying. I know I might get some people that are like mad, and you know, I'm just saying, as being a natural, I really want to thank the YouTube community, because when I'm not making videos, I'm a huge fan of a lot of people in the natural hair community. There's a huge movement on YouTube, the natural hair community, where a lot of black women, I think, are realizing this, and are realizing that their self-esteem and their self-worth is tied to their hair. But like, you know, the lengths that they go to do, like, there are people that will be like go into debt, that won't eat, that won't pay rent. They'll get their hair done and they won't pay rent. Like, it's crazy. It's insane. The amount of self-worth and money that gets put into black hair. And by the way, the black hair industry now is $1 billion with a B, $1 billion industry. So one of the things I find very interesting too is that a lot of the Koreans have taken over the black hair industry. And I remember going out when I grew up in LA and South Central, you know, going into certain stores and being treated like shit. And a lot of people would be treated like shit because there's a lot of culture tension between blacks and Koreans. And but they would still put up with it because they were addicted to like the hair products. I didn't. I would be like fuck this shit. That's why a lot of times I probably have messed up hair, because I didn't even, you know, if I go into a place and I get treated like crap, I'm out. There's one lady that's still on Crenshaw in Washington. Amazing. She's Korean. I love her to pieces. Her name is Alice's Beauty Supply. I will patronize that lady. She's a great lady. Wonderful lady. Always treated with like the utmost respect when I went into her place, and she has a good selection of products. Okay, so I'm going on a tangent. But what I want to say is that I think it is kind of sad that, you know, black people have also let an industry that they spend most of their money on be controlled by another culture. Like, why isn't this an industry that we have control over? So getting back to the natural hair community, it's really giving me hope, because now it's interesting. You see a lot of women giving each other beauty advice, which is great, you know. It's empowering. People are loving their own hair. They're not having to get stolen hair from India. If you ever saw Chris Rock's documentary Good Hair, that's a whole nother. But anyway, Indian hair, basically when you straighten it, it's very similar to black hair, and it blends very well. It's called Indian Remy hair. in the Chris Rock documentary. I thought, before I saw this documentary, I thought any hair that I got was, you know, donated, that people willingly just cut their hair and they're like, oh, I don't want, you know, I have long hair or whatever, I'm gonna cut it, I'm gonna sell it, whatever. But he, you know, he talks about people like literally getting hair robbed, like their hair stolen and sold on the black market. And now that you think about it, I'm like, you know what, that does make sense, because people pay anywhere from $150 to $1,000 or more for weave hair. It's insane. So yeah, you know, but you know, having that energy in your head of stolen people, of oppressed people, it's not like a good thing. So I love the natural hair community on YouTube, because it's given a lot of people back their power. A lot of the women have actually, you know, when you have a focus and a goal, you get like really, you know, your energy gets put into one thing. And a lot of these women have actually taught themselves about herbs, aromatherapy, you know, become chemists in order to make the perfect hair products, you know, become artists in order to, like, you know, do the perfect twist, and you know, it's like crocheting and stuff in your hair. It's fascinating. Have also become nutritionists, because then you figure out, you're like, okay, I want my hair to grow, what do I need to eat? So then it's forced them to eat, you know, to eat healthier, you know, to use healthier products, to use products with no chemicals, and to be dependent on their own hair growth instead of depending on chemicals and depending on, you know, weave hair or fake hair, right, in order to feel empowered. And because of that, a lot of women I've seen in that community who have huge followings through the years, they've actually started their own hairlines, natural hairlines with healthy products, or made or they've created like tools, like I just bought this really great detangler brush from a black woman who invented it, you know. And it just goes to show you, in America, we're so blessed to be in this country. You can do anything. You can be anything. Even back then, even in the 1900s, because she died in like 1919, and she was like, oh, I'm sorry, Madam C.J.Walker died in 1919, and she was a millionaire. So that means she was she died when she was 51. So I'm guessing she had success in like the late 1800s, being a millionaire, okay? So I mean, there's just no excuse, you guys. There's no excuse. And even today, like, it's great. What's her name? I think her name is Felicia Underwood or something. That just, oh wait, I don't have the brush on me. It's amazing. It's amazing. I have very dense, thick hair, and I literally would get some combs, and they would, like, I would try and comb my hair, and the comb would like break. Okay, so I needed to get something that, you know, there's a right tool for everything. So I just bought this amazing detangler brush, which detangles my hair, is very strong, doesn't break. It doesn't break my hair off either. And then there's also certain techniques that you can learn to detangle your hair. I have what's called 4C hair. I have like the tightest, most dense. Like if I pull my hair down, it's like, if I were to straighten it, it would be down to my shoulders. But it's the tightness of it, it's tight. It's annoying when I have to detangle it, but you know, it's thick, you know, I probably won't go bald. You know, I'm very grateful for it, and especially now that I understand how to manage it. I think when I was younger, and especially if you're a kid, you fucking dread getting your hair combed. You know, it's like torture, because you're, you know, and back then, you know, when I was growing up, we didn't have YouTube, we didn't have special tools, special detangling combs, so we use a lot of tools that people with naturally straight hair would use, and it wasn't the right tool, and it was just fucking torture. Like, I'd be like running and screaming, and I'm tender-headed, you know, like, meaning my scalp is sensitive, so my mom would like be like have one foot up on a chair, and then me like trying to pull my hair, and it's just awful. But now, you know, because of the innovation of the natural hair community, of the products they're inventing, also to soften the hair, we need certain, you know, you need certain minerals and certain oils. Like, I think, like, the darker you are, the more oils you have in your skin. And if you have tightly curled hair, the sebum can't get down. Like if your hair is straight, you have this oil called sebum that generates from your scalp. And if it's straightened, then the sebum, the oil, natural oil, can slide down easily. But if you have, you know, your hair's curly and it grows up, it's harder for the sebum to get in the hair shaft. So we need more oils on our hair, maybe less on our skin. And I think for lighter skinned people with straighter hair, it's the opposite. So you need more oils in your skin, but less oil in your hair, because your hair gets oily. That you have the sebum, so your hair is like coated and it's more hydrated, if that makes sense. So a lot of stuff that I've learned through the natural community by my, you know, about myself and my hair, and it's given me confidence and it's giving me, you know, empowerment. And I'm never saying I won't straighten my hair. I'm never saying that I won't play with wigs, because I love that stuff. I do. But I think there is a certain, like, there's a certain self-esteem that you have when you're not reliant on a lot of other things outside of yourself to make yourself happy. And there's a difference between playing with your look from now and, you know, from time to time, and you know, feeling like you can't even be a part of society unless you have, you know, someone else's hair in your head, or you have chemicals in your hair, or lots of makeup, or whatever. It's a totally different, like, thing. I hope I'm making sense. So I made a video a while ago called Hair Slavery, and I was just talking about how also free I feel, you know, having natural hair. Not like when I had my hair pressed and I relaxed and stuff, like I didn't feel I can go swimming, I couldn't do jujitsu, I couldn't do all these things that I like to do now, because I was so, like, attached to my hair looking great. And I know a lot of black women are like that. I know a lot of black women aren't as athletic as they could be, because they don't want their hair to get messed up. That's just facts, y'all, you know. But that's one thing I feel liberated from. So I'm gonna put that hair slavery video I made a few months ago in there, and I'm gonna put some other things, like maybe some of the natural hair people that I follow, and just look in the comments. I'll give you guys some goodies to follow to get hip to what I'm talking about. But yeah, and this whole victim mentality shit has to go, man. It's gotta go. It's holding the whole country back, not just black people, but it's holding everybody back. Because you have the victim mentality, and then you have the people that are brainwashed, the white people that feel guilty about shit that they didn't even do, and like, why? Like, give it up, you know? It's bullshit. It's not getting us anywhere. It's not serving us. Okay. And back then, I don't know, you know, I don't know when the mark was in history when that changed, because even back then, like I said, when people were, you know, not too, you know, far away from being slaves, they were inventing shit, and they were making moves, and they were becoming millionaires by making hair products. Okay, so anyway, that's my spiel for today, y'all. All right, I'll talk to you later. Peace and love. Bye-bye. Mwah.